गीता, आजकल क्या कर रही हो?
तुमने तो सुना होगा, जो लोग कुछ नहीं करते वो कमाल करते हैं। मैं आजकल कमाल कर रही हूँ।
मेरे साथ काम करोगी?
तुम मुझे काम क्यों ऑफर कर रहे हो?
And Nilma, that is probably one of the few moments of levity in what is otherwise a very serious movie, which is a Salim Javed special. Hello, friends. I am Bharath. This is Neelima, and welcome to After the Interval.
इंटरवल के बाद
Because the best part of any movie is not the movie, it's always the conversation after. Okay, so we know you have been waiting for this one. 7 episodes in. Where is the first Amitabh movie? So, the movie we are going to talk about today is a blockbuster from 1978. The movie is Trishul. And you all are Trishul. Why not Deewaar? So, Neelima and I thought an explanation is required here. And our belief is Deewaar was a complete Amitabh movie. Undisputedly, one of the great performances in the history of Indian cinema. But this film, Deewaar, was never really a contest. Trishul is different because Neelima Trishul has who?
Sanjeev Kumar and great women characters as well.
Yes, and we will talk about the women characters who are what Neelima and I believe the real heroes of this movie. So, Sanjeev Kumar in this movie does something that very few people have been able to do, which is match Amitabh scene for scene. Sanjeev Kumar plays a man who is guilty, who knows somewhere deep down that he deserves everything coming to him, but he just cannot bring himself to admit it. So the shame, the pride, the ambition, but also the slow recognition. So one of the great performances in Hindi cinema, we believe, of course, Amitabh had a phenomenal performance, but Sanjeev Kumar, we believe, matched him toe to toe, and he was a worthy adversary, and that's why we picked Trishul. Neelima, you want to tell us the rest of the cast?
Amitabh Bachchan, Sanjeev Kumar, Shashi Kapoor, Rakhi, Hema Malini, Wahida Rahman, Poonam Dhillon, Prem Chopra, and Sachin Pilgaonkar.
What an ensemble
Amazing.
cast.
Yes.
Crazy. Our first segment, we call it Zamana Kya Kehta Hai, where Neelima and I try and provide a bit of context in which the movie was made. The year is 1978. In many ways, the world is catching its breath. Jimmy Carter's in the White House, still navigating the long shadow of Watergate in Vietnam. The first test tube baby is born. Pope John Paul II becomes the Pope, the first non Italian Pope in 450 plus years. As music lovers, Neelima and I, Sony launches the Walkman. So, the first time in human history, music has become personal, something that you carried with you, something that belonged to you. And in India, Indira Gandhi had just lost power, the emergency was over, Morarji Desai was PM. And for a 2 year period, civil liberties had been suspended, press censorship was in force. So when the Janata Party won, the country felt like a bit of the weight of that authoritarian power was gone. There was definitely this desire for stories that were genuine, stories around fighting back, about ordinary people standing up to power, about folks that don't accept injustice. So, into that India, Trishul arrived. And so the audience understood exactly what it was about.
1978 was the year of Amitabh Bachchan. But to understand what that means, you have to understand his journey. It all started in 1973 with Zanjeer, a film that invented a new kind of Hindi film hero, not romantic, not the noble, idealistic person, the angry young man, a man who had been wronged by the system and was going to make the system pay. Salim Javed wrote it, Amitabh inhabited it, and Hindi cinema was never the same.
Never the same.
And 1975 was his greatest artistic year. Think about what happened in the 12-month period. Deewaar, one of the most significant films made in Hindi cinema. Sholay, the highest grossing Hindi film for 19 years. Two all-time classics, same actor, same year. That is a phenomenon. 1977, Amar Akbar Anthony, the biggest hit since Sholay. Four of the top five highest grossing films of 1978 were Amitabh movies. Mukaddar Ka Sikandar at number 1, Trishul at number 2, Dawn at number 3, Kasme Wade at number 4. So much so that the French director Francois Truffaut called him a one-man industry, and he wasn't wrong. In 1978, Amitabh did not just dominate Hindi cinema, he was Hindi cinema.
Well said, Neelima. So, as you were going through it, two thoughts came to mind. We covered a lot of episodes so far, and we talk about a movie and the hero. And if he has one movie in the top 10, we talk about it like it was an amazing feat. And it really is, right? It's so hard to make, given the volume of Hindi movies we make, for something to be a commercial success. And just then we talk about Amitabh, and he's got this 10-year period from 73 to what, 85. And he's 82, I guess. Then he gets the second wind with Coolie and those movies. But for a 10-year period, one, two, four, one, two, three, just the amount of super duper hits that man has delivered, truly a one man industry.
And to keep up the intensity for so many movies, Bharat, and deliver convincing performances movie after movie, it's no small feat.
Absolutely. And the second thing that comes to mind is Trishul is different from many of the movies. The layers inside Trishul have so much more to offer than so many of the other movies. Some were absolutely classic Amitabh films, take Dawn, Amar Akbar Anthony,
Single tone,
Manmohan
yeah,
Desai.
yeah,
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 you
yeah.
you know what you're gonna get with a
Uh-huh.
Manmohan Desai movie. You know what you're gonna get with a Prakash Mehra movie. I mean, amazing directors, amazing movies. My argument would be, even in that decade of 10 years, the layers and the hidden anger, the rage, the way he portrays the role, Trishul in many ways stands out on its own.
Absolutely, totally agree with what you said. Trishul certainly stands out, and I think that's why it has endured for so long. Even now, when you watch it, it grips you. We can feel his anger.
तुम्हारे प्यार की दी हुई शक्ति मेरे पास है माँ सारी दुनिया एक तरफ हो जाए तुम्हारा बेटा कमजोर कभी नहीं बनेगा मुझ पर विश्वास रख माँ तेरा बेटा कमजोर
We can feel his anger. It is quite modern for its times. Truly an instant classic, rewatchable movie. All right, our next segment is Pehla Nasha, where Neelima will provide some fast facts about the movie and some of the main characters and actors and technicians.
It was released on May 5th, 1978, directed by Yash Chopra, produced by Gulshan Rai under Trimurti Films. It was written by Salim-Javed, music by Khayyam, lyrics by Sahir Ludhianvi, cinematography by Keiichi. Budget was approximately 2.5 crore rupees. They had to spend to afford all the cast, I guess.
Oh, the ensemble cast.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just want to take a minute and place Trishul in the order of this trilogy. So before we go into the story, Trishul does not exist in isolation. It is the second film of one of the great director-writer partnerships in the history of Indian cinema. So Yash Chopra and Salim-Javed made exactly 3 films together. So Deewaar comes out in 75. Trishul comes out in 78. It's the middle movie. And then Kaala Patthar comes out in 79, back to back almost. And that movie, similar in terms of coal miners, corporate negligence.
एक बादशाह दूसरा बादशाह
तीसरा तीसरा बादशाह दिखाओ
मेरे ताश के 53वें पत्ते तीसरे बादशाह हम हैं दिखाई नहीं देता तीसरे बादशाह हम हैं
The Forgotten Man, that was inspired by a real life incident.
ये कोले की कान एक अजगर है सेठ साहब, जो रोज अनगिनत मजदूरों को निगलता है और उन्हें चबा के, पीस के, कुचल के, उनके जिस्मों से जिंदगी का एक एक कतरा चूस कर एक लाश की सूरत में उन्हें वापस बदल देता है.
And Amitabh, Shashi, Shatrughan Sinha, three completely different trajectories. So, but the same obsession, if you will, runs through all of them, which is around power. Who's got it? Who doesn't? What happens when the man who does not have it decides he's going to take it anyway? So, Yash Chopra brought all the visual poetry, Salim-Javed brought all the rage, and then Amitabh brought it all together with the body and the voice to make the rage feel true.
तुम लोग मुझे ढूंढ रहे हो और मैं तुम्हारा यहाँ इंतजार कर रहा हूँ.
I want to share a couple of behind the scenes stories about Trishul. This film almost did not happen the way we know it. It was 70% complete when producer Gulshan Rai sat down and watched what had been shot, and he wasn't happy. Something was missing, and so at 70% completion, Yash Chopra went back to the table, sat with Salim Javed, and told them, something is missing and asked them to fix it. Maybe give it the X factor. What Salim Javed came up was the ambulance scene. That scene that became the film's most iconic moment when Amitabh arrives in an ambulance.
Yes,
Or brings.
it's one of my favorite scenes.
Okay, we'll let you handle it.
Mar.
Yes. That's your scene. That's your
Yes.
scene. Yeah. Just one more detail. Rishi Kapoor was originally offered the role that eventually went to Sachin Pilgaonkar. He refused, and rightly so. So, I mean, there wasn't much for Sachin to do there. But Salim Khan was furious. He confronted Rishi Kapoor directly and threatened his career. Rishi Kapoor wasn't phased and went on to have a thriving career as a leading man and later as a brilliant supporting actor. However, this incident gives us an insight on how serious and confident Salim Javed were about their work.
Absolutely. So I'll cover that briefly in CT Mar, but you brought it up and I can't hold myself back. It's definitely, I mean, Trishul has so many iconic
So
scenes.
many CT Mar scenes, yes.
So many CT Mar scenes. But this one, interesting because it was not in the original script. And what makes it extraordinary is that it's not just a cool entrance. If that scene is played in a movie today, the hall is going to go crazy. It's a scene that what we would call would go absolutely viral because it's not just a cool entrance, it's a statement of intent. I'm going to drive to this place in an ambulance because once I beat these guys up, they'll need an ambulance to take them to the hospital. Just that layer, that thinking is what makes that scene so iconic. And a few scenes later, it clicks to Sanjeev Kumar that Vijay is Amitabh's character is winning.
यू आर राइट सर, लेकिन विजय कुमार ने आपसे बढ़कर बोली लगाई, ये मुझे बुरा लगा.
विजय इस वक्त बिजनेस नहीं कुछ और कर रहा है, लेकिन क्यों?
But he knows how to win and that he will win. And Sanjeev Kumar's layered acting, where he's starting to recognize that
Yes.
he's no longer in control. So again, amazing, just the layering that Salim Javed brought into the screenplay. This was the original, this was the OG of
This is the
swag.
OG. Yes.
The other aspect, Neelima, is Amitabh's confidence never falters. From the time he takes this oath with his mom as she's on her deathbed till the almost the very last scene, he has only one intent in mind, which is revenge.
Yes.
But the shades of character that Sanjeev Kumar goes through was just stellar.
And like you said, a worthy opponent.
All right, we definitely have Sanjeev Kumar love going on,
Absolutely.
and we'll explain why here shortly. So our next segment is Baki Sab First Class, where we talk about the other movies in '78 and why Trishul stands apart.
To understand how extraordinary Trishul's success was, you need to see the company it was keeping. Azad with Dharmendra and Hema Malini. Satyam Shivam Sundaram, Raj Kapoor's most
Wow.
controversial movie. Akhiyon ke Jharokon se, Sachin and Ranjita.
With that iconic song.
Yeah, Rajshri movie, The Quiet Romantic Sleeper. Main Tulsi Tere Angan Ki, Parvarish, starring Amitabh and Shashi Kapoor together again. But Bharat, why do you think Trishul stands apart here?
Here's a hot take, and I don't think you will disagree with me. The argument would be that this movie is not about power. It could be about power. It's not about land deals. It's not corporate rivalry, not even the father son confrontation, but the real characters in the movie are the two mothers. Shanti, who is Vijay's mother, who was loved, abandoned, left to raise a son alone, while the man who abandoned her built an empire on her sacrifice. So Vijay's rage is really not about R.K. Gupta, but more so about what R.K. Gupta, which is Sanjeev Kumar's character, has done to his mom. And the second one is Sanjeev Kumar's mother and the way her ambition for Sanjeev Kumar. So when Sanjeev Kumar brings Vaida Rahman home, and the way she handles it, it's not the modern Saas Bahu thing. The very nuanced way in which she has bigger dreams for her son and the way she explains it.
शांति में कुछ खराबी है। मैं जानती हूँ वो एक बहुत अच्छी लड़की है। वो जिस लड़के से शादी करेगी उसे जिंदगी भर सुखी रखेगी, खुश रखेगी।
और तुम नहीं चाहती वो खुशी मुझे मिले?
हाँ, मैं नहीं चाहती, क्योंकि जिंदगी की मामूली खुशियाँ मामूली इंसानों के लिए होती हैं, और तुम कोई मामूली इंसान नहीं। तुम एक बड़े आदमी हो, तुम्हें जिंदगी की बड़ी खुशियाँ मिलनी चाहिए।
So my hot take is the movie is really about these two women. What's your take?
That is a very interesting take, Bharat. You are so on point here. The way she convinces him, even we get convinced because it is so strong. And when it came to Wahida Rahman, yeah, when she gets to know there is no Rona Dhona there. She's a strong woman. And the way she informs Sanjeev Kumar that she's expecting his baby, and then just says goodbye Raj, and leaves.
मैं तुम्हारे बच्चे की माँ बनने वाली हूँ। गुड बाय राज।
And when Sanjeev Kumar wants to take care of her or provide for her, she's a proud woman. She's like, you are not here for to help me. You are here to just clear your conscience, and that is such a wonderful line.
कितने रुपये लाए हो? बोलो। तुम जानते हो आज भी तुम मेरी मदद करने नहीं आए हो, मुझसे मदद मांगने आए हो। कहीं ना कहीं तुम्हारी आत्मा पर बोझ है।
Yeah, both such strong women coming from
Absolutely. And she won't let him have it. There is no free lunch here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And she's like, goodbye. And she leaves.
Yeah. And she's like, I'll rear this child because it came from a place of love. And I'm going to give this child the love. Though, she has to go through many hardships to raise him.
मैं जा रही हूँ तुमसे, तुम्हारे इस शहर से दूर। मैं जहाँ भी रहूंगी इस बच्चे को जन्म दूंगी, इसे पालूंगी, इसे बेहद प्यार करूंगी, इसलिए कि मेरा बच्चा मेरे उन दिनों की निशानी होगा जब मैंने सचमुच किसी से प्यार।
So dignified, the way she leaves Sanjeev Kumar, it is so dignified. And while we are on the women in this movie, Rakhi as Geeta, the efficient personal secretary, lovingly called Madam Computer, honest, diligent, forthcoming, and someone who doesn't take any nonsense from anyone, including her own boss. Hema Malini's Sheetal, a female character who is a general manager. She's professionally accomplished, completely self-possessed. In a decade when Hindi cinema's female characters are largely, defined only by the relationship to the hero, Geeta and Sheetal have their own identity.
Without a doubt. And Hema Malini plays golf in the movie. Folks, The year is 1978.
78.
And to see a character in a Hindi movie, a female character in Hindi movie playing golf. So absolutely, Neelima, many years ahead in that sense, no doubt.
And Bharat, what holds up and what does not?
Yeah, so what has aged beautifully, the characters, the performances of Amitabh, Sanjeev, Shashi Kapoor, Rakhi, especially those four, absolutely phenomenal in every scene. The
Yeah.
writing, all the layering we talked about that Salim-Javed built into the screenplay, the psychology underneath the confrontations, none of that has aged a single day.
दुनिया में कम लोग हैं जो दूसरों की कामयाबी से खुश होते हैं। मैं सोच रहा था पता नहीं आ पाएंगे या नहीं।
अगर ये जश्न तुम्हारी कामयाबी की खुशी में है तो मुझे आना ही चाहिए था, इसलिए कि तुम मानो या ना मानो, लेकिन तुम्हारी इस कामयाबी में मेरे उन 2 टेंडर्स का भी हिस्सा है जो तुम्हें भंडारी के जरिए मिले थे।
मैं तो मानता हूं कि आज मैं जो भी हूं आपकी वजह से। यकीन कीजिए मिस्टर आर के गुप्ता, जिंदगी में जो कुछ भी आपसे मिला वो मैं भूला नहीं हूं।
What has not aged well? The ease in which Shaker accepts that, oh, my dad wronged you. Dude, you are the son of, the biggest construction magnate in town. I would have wanted to see a little
Some
bit more
proof. Some proof.
fire and fight in him. And my thinking is, I think maybe Salim Javed realized that for Amitabh to really shine or for their movies to do well, they need another strong character. So maybe by Kaala Patthar, they were like, oh yeah, it's time to add someone that can physically within scenes stand their own. And of course, Shatrughan Sinha and Kaala Patthar did amazing. Our next segment is one of our favorite segments in each episode, which is Gana Bajao. So, Neelima, I know you're a big fan of the album, so I'm going to just really talk about Khayyam and Sahir Ludhianvi real quick. The thing I love about Khayyam relative to everyone in that era is his compositions are more restrained, more classical, and his way of making music is that it should serve the emotion rather than to overwhelm it. So, perfect example, Kabhi Kabhi in 76, Umrah Aur Jaan in 81. So, Trishul is sandwiched between those two classics. So, that's Khayyam for you. And then, of course, you and I have talked about Sahir Ludhianvi before, one of the greatest Urdu poets of the 20th century. He just happened to write film songs too. Very progressive, lyrics always carry a social conscience. His messaging has more layers, whereas Gulzar is maybe a little bit more contemporary in the thinking. So again, all-time greats in Khayyam and Sahir Ludhianvi.
Let me go through the Trishul soundtrack. The first one, Aapki Mehki Hui Zulf. This is the song that opens the movie.
As the credits are coming.
Yeah, and such a wonderful song. Before a single scene has properly established itself, the song comes. And it sets the register for everything that follows. Then came Tu Mere Saath Rahega Munne by Lata Mangeshkar, the song that depicts the emotional bond between Shanti and her son. It keeps reminding Vijay of all the hardships his mom had to endure to raise him, and the fact that she didn't hide anything and exposed him to all the struggles of growing up without a dad's support. Then comes Jaane Man Tum Kamal Karti Ho, Lata Mangeshkar and Kishore Kumar, a playful song picturized on Shashi Kapoor and Hema Malini, where she's playing golf and tennis. A reminder that Yash Chopra, even in a revenge drama, could not resist a moment of pure romantic joy. Then came Mohabbat Bade Kaam Ki Cheez Hai.
The song.
Yes, Lata Mangeshkar, Kishore Kumar, KJ Yesudas. only song with all three legends in one.
Yes, listeners, the only song where you can get the three great gifted artists, Lata ji, Kishore Kumar, and KJ Yesudas, all in one song, the only time. What a song.
मोहब्बत बड़े काम की चीज है, काम की चीज है। मोहब्बत बड़े काम की चीज है, काम की चीज है।
And then comes Jo Ho Yaar Apna. Lata Mangeshkar and Kishore Kumar sing for Shashi Kapoor and Hema Malini again.
वो कभी कसमें न तोड़े, उसे जीते जी न छोड़े, जो हो यार अपना।
चाहे रोके दुनिया सारी, उस पे कर दे सब कुछ वारी, जो हो यार अपना।
Yash Chopra understood that even the darkest stories need light, and this is my favorite song from the album. And last but not the least, Gapuchi Gum Gum, Lata Mangeshkar and Nitin Mukesh, a song about young love picturized on Sachin and Poonam Dhillon. Sweet, simple, completely of its era, and somehow sitting inside a film about fathers and sons and 30-year-old wounds, it still works.
Yeah, it's a fun song.
हम दोनों साथ रहें जन्म जन्म।
Excellent soundtrack, always hummable. All right, our next segment is Kismat Ka Khel, where we do some quick casting what ifs. Nilma, when I rewatched the movie, the one question I had was Hema Malini, Rakhi, Wahida Rahman. They could have headlined any film of that period. So why say yes to Trishul?
I think the roles were great, right? But they had great lines to say, and they were all strong women characters. I mean, what did you think about it?
Yes, I think that's what it is, which is one, they know it's a guaranteed hit, right? Like the commercial element, certainly there is that part of that. Two, they know that no one portrays women as well as Yash Chopra does. So I think that it's Yash Chopra. The script is going to be written with their characters in mind. They won't be peripheral to the story, and they're going to be part of small roles, but consequential roles is my take.
Now, coming to the male characters, the casting question that I think that changes the entire film if you answer it differently. Shashi Kapoor as Shekhar, the legitimate son, he's wonderful. He's charming, warm, completely believable as the privileged son. But here's my what if. What if this role had gone to Shatrughan Sinha? What do you think would have happened? Because Shatrughan Sinha in 78 was at the peak of his powers. What do you think would have happened had Shatrughan Sinha taken up this role?
I think Shashi Kapoor instantly gives off the I'm going to be the younger brother. I'm going to bring some fresh energy to the role, but you're going to feel a little sorry for me. Whereas with Shatrughan Sinha, he would have given you a brother you're not entirely sure
Sure.
about,
Yeah.
right? He would have fought for his dad's empire more so than what Shashi Kapoor did. I think one of the plot points is we talked about this earlier how quickly Shashi Kapoor switches over,
And
right?
accepts. He's always accepting of Amitabh, no matter how much he's troubling them. Yeah.
Absolutely. And maybe that's the way Salim-Javed thought about it is that we don't need a character here that Amitabh's already fighting and has the rage with Sanjeev Kumar. So we don't necessarily want to bring in a third dimension into what is a story largely about a father son fight, right? But I mean, clearly they had Shatrughan Sinha in mind by the time Kaala Patthar came around. All right, this is my 2026 reimagining. You're probably not going to agree with me, but I feel like this movie can be remade. It was already so much forward looking for its time. I don't think the central themes of the story would be that different if you were to make the movie today. Neelima, I'm going to share a few names in the remaking of this movie in 2026.
I'm
You have
so
to tell me
curious
what
to
you
see.
think.
I'm so curious to see who you have in mind. Okay, go ahead.
All right, bear with me. For Amitabh's role, I have Ranbir Kapoor in mind. I think Animal proved beyond a doubt that he can do this. And the father son dynamic of Animal, yes, it's playing a little bit on my mind, but that wound that is central to Trishul, I think Ranbir can carry it off really well. I have an inspired choice for the dad,
Mm-hmm.
Saif Ali Khan. Hear me out.
Oh, okay.
The patrician quality, the contained menace, the sophistication and intelligence of trying to be a few steps ahead, making some tough decisions. I think Omkara and Sacred Games, if Saif can channel that, opposite Ranbir, I think the dynamic would be electric. For Shaker, I have Ishan Khatter. Ishan, because his intensity, I feel, is authentic, not performed. Whereas Shashi Kapoor in towards some of the later scenes, I think Ishan Khatter will bring a level of loyalty, but also a slow realization. I think Ishan can carry that emotional arc and hold it himself opposite Ranbir without being overshadowed. Sheetal, Kriti Sanon, elegance, the confidence, just being natural, having the poise and the pizzazz. For Geeta, I have Rashmika in mind, the warmth, the loyalty, she can absolutely do it. And the line where जो लोग कुछ नहीं करते वो कमाल करते हैं, I think she would nail that. And I think Vishal Bharadwaj as director, because
Wow. Okay.
Vishal understands power, betrayal, and family wounds that are complex, devastatingly Indian. What do you think?
I agree with all your casting choices, but for the director, probably he would set it in rural India. I don't know because that is Vishal's strong point. But yeah, it will be an interesting take. Trishul set in rural India, but I think it will be a great movie to watch. I would pay money to watch that movie.
All right, somebody please make this movie. All right, Nilma, we come to our next segment, which is the CT Mar segment, where we pick some of our favorite scenes. My first favorite scene, the ambulance scene. The baddies are living in an ambulance. He arrives in one. He's not really angry. He's certain that he's going to beat them to pulp and put them in an ambulance. So that iconic scene is my first favorite.
मैं वापस जाने के लिए नहीं, तुम लोगों को यहाँ से भेजने आया, इसलिए साथ में ये एम्बुलेंस लेकर आया हूँ, क्योंकि मैं नहीं चाहता कि मुझसे मार खाने के बाद तुम लोगों को हॉस्पिटल पहुंचने में देर लगे.
My first favorite is Amitabh's reaction after Rakhi is sacked. He just drags Bhandari and he reveals his deeds to R.K. Gupta, something unique I wouldn't expect. And he says, जिंदगी में कुछ बातें फायदे और नुकसान से ऊपर होती है.
भंडारी तुम्हारी मदद कर रहा था, उसकी चोरी पकड़वा के तुमने अपना नुकसान क्यों किया?
जिंदगी में कुछ बातें फायदे और नुकसान से ऊपर होती हैं, लेकिन ये बात कुछ लोग नहीं जानते.
And then later when he goes to meet Rakhi, asks her what she's up to, and her answer, जो लोग कुछ नहीं करते वो कमाल करते हैं, मैं आजकल कमाल कर रही हूँ. Salim Javed giving the wittiest and most dignified line in the movie to a woman who just lost her job.
आजकल क्या कर रही है?
तुमने सुना होगा, जो लोग कुछ नहीं करते कमाल करते हैं. मैं आजकल कमाल कर रही हूँ.
My next one is the blood, I call it the blood exchange scene, where Poonam Dillon's character is injured. Vijay brings her home. And there is this back and forth between him and Sanjeev Kumar, where Sanjeev Kumar said, एक सेकंड के लिए मुझे लगा कि ये मेरे ही हाथ का खून है. And then you're like, oh man, it's like father son. And then Amitabh, a couple of lines later, Amitabh says something, and Sanjeev Kumar said, मैंने हाथ धो लिया है. And Amitabh says, ये धाग आसानी से नहीं जाते, ये जख्म आसानी से नहीं भरते. Amazing lines, the 5 lines, the back and forth, each one landing differently. That was my second favorite scene, Neelma.
जरा ठीक से साफ कीजिएगा, वरना कोई देखने वाला समझेगा कि आपके हाथ किसी के खून से रंगे हैं.
नहीं, मैंने हाथ धो दिया है, साफ हो गया.
मैं तो समझता था कि ये दाग आसानी से नहीं धुलते.
My second favorite is when Shashi Kapoor was Hema Malini using feminism card, woman liberation angle, and he convinces her to have a lunch date, and a scene that makes you smile every time. हमारे ख्यालात कितने मिलते जुलते हैं, इस स्टैंडर्ड लाइन.
मिस्टर शेखर, मैं समझ गई हूँ. आज अगर मैं आपके साथ लंच पे नहीं गई, तो दुनिया भर की औरतों की आज़ादी और तरक्की पर बहुत बुरा असर पड़ सकता है. और मैं ऐसा नहीं चाहती हूँ, इसलिए मैं आज आपके साथ लंच पे जरूर चलूंगी।
देख लीजिए, हमारे ख्यालात कितने मिलते जुलते।
And then the way he just reels off all the progress women have made over the last decade or so, even though he's saying all of that for a very self serving reason. Excellent choice. My next favorite scene is so the housing contract confrontation happens, and this is the scene where Vijay is telling Geeta, and he shows her his mother's frame. And the genius of the scene is Raki never spells out anything. So she quickly connects the dots about who his dad is. No dialogue needed. Amitabh doesn't explain. He just shows her
Mhm.
and she
She
understands
understands, yes.
beautifully. One of the great silenting acts.
मेरी माँ की तस्वीर तो तुमने कई बार देखी है, आज उसकी कहानी भी सुन लो। मेरी माँ बहुत गरीब औरत थी गीता, और इस जुर्म के लिए दुनिया में उसे किसी ने माफ नहीं किया। अगर मैं अपनी माँ का बेटा हूँ गीता, तो एक दिन उस आदमी की सारी दौलत छीन लूंगा जिसने एक दौलत के लिए मेरी माँ से उसकी खुशियां छीनी थी।
मुझे, मैं उस आदमी को जानती हूँ।
My third favorite is the Amitabh and Sanjeev Kumar housing contract confrontation. And when everything goes, Amitabh says, "I do this only with people who are evil at heart, or who are not good at heart." And Sanjeev Kumar is like all over him, like, "Why do you think so?" And he says, "लगता है मैंने आपकी किसी दुखती रग पे हाथ लगा दिया." And then the most famous line, "सही बात, सही वक्त और सही मौके पे की जाए तो उसका मजा ही कुछ और है, और मुझे सही वक्त और सही मौके का इंतजार है." Not anger, strategy. A man who has been planning this for years and is now executing it with complete precision and pleasure.
लगता मैंने आपकी किसी दुखती रग पे हाथ रख दिया।
तुम कहना क्या चाहते हो?
जो कहना चाहता हूँ मिस्टर गुप्ता, वो भी कहूंगा, लेकिन सही बात सही वक्त और सही मौके पर की जाए तो उसका मजा कुछ और ही होता है, और मुझे सही वक्त और सही मौके का इंतजार है।
Oh, without a doubt. And because we are rewatching the movie, you know what happens later, and it is the foreboding of what is going to transpire later. Phenomenal scene. I just have one last pick. I think the final confrontation scene is quite epic as well between father and son when all of the truth comes out. And Sanjeev Kumar finally just, he's run out of any defenses, right? So, and then even for Amitabh, then he realizes, well, this is not really a victory, it's a reckoning. But the way the two characters handle themselves and 30 years of that wound finally starting to heal. And I think that was brilliantly taken.
कल बबली की शादी है, डैडी इस शादी में शरीक नहीं होंगे, इसलिए कि शादी उनके घर के बाहर उनकी मर्जी के खिलाफ हो रही है। मैं तुमसे ये कहने आया हूँ कि कल तुम्हारा आना बहुत जरूरी है, इसलिए कि अगर बाप ना आ सके तो कन्यादान बड़ा भाई करता है।
मैं आऊंगा शेखर।
So, some of our favorite scenes, folks. Neelima, what's your closing take on the movie?
My closing take is Trishul represents something that Hindi cinema never quite achieved again. The angry young man template, invented by Salim-Javed in Zanjeer, perfected in Deewaar, reached its most sophisticated form here. The rage was still there, but it was disciplined now, strategic, layered with psychology and consequence in a way the earlier films had only hinted at. And the combination that created it, Yash Chopra's visual elegance, Salim Javed's social conscience, Amitabh's absolute conviction, that was a once in a generation convergence. And it happened three times: Deewaar, Trishul, Kaala Patthar. And Trishul, the middle film, the most complete film, is proof of what it was capable at its peak.
Well said, Neelima. And for me, the reason I keep watching the movie is how much I appreciate the layering because Trishul, yes, in every scene, it is about Vijay and R.K. Gupta. Every confrontation, every corporate battle, they are always at the center of the frame. But the film is really about the two women who never share a single scene together. Everything that happens in the film flows from what was done to one woman and what was accepted by another, right? So Vijay's rage is really not about his father, it's about his mother, what she deserved and what he is trying to get back. So Salim Javed's genius of hiding the real story, in our opinion, inside the revenge story, the two women that never met. So that depth and that layering is why we are still talking about the movie 50 years later. So Nilma, absolutely rewatchable, phenomenal movie, one of our favorite Amitabh Salim Javed movies, folks.
Next week, we are going somewhere completely different. From the revenge drama of the 1978 to the most effortlessly cool Hindi film made in the 2000s by far. Three Friends, Goa, and a film that changed what Hindi cinema thought it looked like. Bharat and I will see you there.
Thank you so much. Before you go, folks, please keep the requests coming. Sankara Burnham had so many of you writing to us. You all loved that episode. Please keep the love coming. If you have any suggestions, please email us at aftertheintervalpodcast@gmail.com. Until next week, Alvida, have a great week. And Neelima, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat.